thank you everyone for joining us today at the Brown Dad. We've got none other than the dynamic Dan Mehta. He's a real estate agent, he is a franchise owner, and he's a real estate investor as well. But more importantly, he's a dad and a brown dad at that. Dan, please tell our viewers something about yourself.
Hey, Reiner, thank you so much for such a kind introduction, and I'm pleased to be on this platform today. Hey, everyone, my name is Dan, and as Reiner mentioned, I'm a real estate agent, investor, as well as the franchise owner of two Booster Juice stores. I met Reiner and I, we knew each other like from my former job when I was working at the bank, and we formed a relationship very closely. Even Reiner and his wife Silda, we are also very good friends. Um, when Reiner told me about his new project on brown dad and how to empower brown dad, not just any dad. I'm sure there is a very limited resource available for dads in general,
Yes.
but especially for brown dad, I noticed that there is really very little information available, especially something to do with our culture or mindset or whatever the case may be. And
Right.
when Reiner told me about this excellent project, I said, well, this is a fantastic idea. And I wish when I became a dad about 8 years ago, I wish I had some sort of a support like Brown Dad or what Reiner and his friends putting together here. That would have been phenomenally helpful to me and people like me or like us, I should say.
Right.
So thanks for Reiner having me, and I can't wait to share this journey with you.
Thank you, Dan. Thank you for that lovely synopsis of what it is that we do. And it is definitely very important to actually bring that to light. Challenges as a dad occur every day. And as you know, you've spent 8 years in those challenges, right? So we're
Indeed.
hoping to make that difference with each person. Now, Dan, you did say that you've got these lovely different accolades, and definitely we go way far back. But please tell your viewers, you are obviously an immigrant. Where are you coming from originally? Which country?
So I born in India,
Hmm.
and then I came to Canada in 2007 as an
Hmm.
international student.
Wow. Okay.
So in India, I'm a state called Gujarat and city called Ahmedabad.
Very nice.
Some of your viewers may or may not know that place
Yes.
in India. And I came from very modest family. Actually, growing up, I didn't have a dad. My
Huh?
dad passed away when I was very young. I was about 2 years old, I would say, and my
Wow.
brother, he was about a year old. So
Wow.
our dad passed away, unfortunately, at a very young age when we were
Right.
super young. So when growing up, we did not have that father figure in our family.
Right.
Um, so as some of you may be able to relate that how challenging that can be for a brown kid to
Right.
grow up in a family where typically your father figure is your dominant figure in your
Yes.
family.
Right.
Um, and basically, long story short, I just had to learn. Like as soon as I became a father,
Yeah.
now what? Like who do I
Right.
talk to? Like where do I get resources? Like
Yeah.
now you're dealing with, and before you even become a dad, you become a father, you become a husband, you become a
Right.
son. So there is
Right.
also those juggling acts,
Right.
being a son, being a husband, being a
Yeah.
father,
Right.
like brother-in-laws, the siblings. There's just so many juggling acts.
So many
Um,
different relationships.
exactly. There's so many
Right.
relationships to juggle. So then I came to Canada. So going back to your question, I came to Canada in '07 as an international student,
Right.
finished my studies at Seneca, and then worked my way up. And here I am today.
Very nice. Very nice. Very nice. And definitely, yeah, that struggle of not having a dad is definitely a challenge on its own. So how does that then affect you in your fatherhood? How does that challenge you to, display that in your fatherhood? That new nuance of difference in relationship.
Um, I mean, can I be honest with your audience,
Yeah,
Rainer?
please. We are looking for all honesty with all our viewers.
So it wasn't easy. Let's put it that way.
Okay.
Being a coming to a country. to start a new life over, and then becoming a husband, and then bringing my family from India to here. So my today my mother, my brother, his family, they're all here. They live in
Very nice.
Brampton.
Very nice.
um, but in the beginning, that transition process wasn't the best, I should say.
Yeah.
Because we don't have the manual, right, as to like, okay, after you get married, how you need
Right.
to behave with your
Right.
spouse, how need to you have to call truce between your family, or
Right.
your parents versus your spouse. And
Right.
there's a lot of Indian drama, right,
Right.
around that. So it wasn't easy.
Right.
And my wife, she's Canadian born.
Right. Right.
um, so that was a cultural gap too in there,
Correct.
like thinking.
Correct.
um,
Correct.
I mean, we all get along very well and everything is fine, but that was a rough patch. That was a transition period, adjustment period.
Right.
And it wasn't the bestest, and because there was no guide, there was nothing. So I went through a lot of stressful times too. At times,
Yeah.
I felt
Yeah.
like, oh man, why am I doing this? What is this? Like, why do I feel this way?
Right.
I should feel more happy. My whole family's here. I'm in a better place.
Right.
Um, but just like all other things, it just passes. It's just a phase. You just have to
Right.
keep working at it. You have to work a little
Stay
bit
positive.
harder. Exactly, you just have to
Right.
work a little bit harder
Right.
compared to other things.
Right.
But eventually, just like any other thing, it will pass.
Right.
And fast forward it took about 2 years for me, but
Right.
fast forward 2 years later, uh, everything is well. Like, now people understand each other much better. There is
Right.
no more that cultural clash per
Correct.
se anymore.
Correct. Right.
So life is much better, let's put it that way now.
Thankfully, thankfully, thankfully so.
Yes,
Life being better is always a good thing. We're always looking for that. And that's part of the journey, right? Is our the journey is patriarchy to partnership. And that's what it is that we try and embody in this Brown Dad platform that we are. Thank you for sharing all
absolutely.
of that lovely, lovely, lovely story arc of what it is that the challenges of that. Now, then just switching gears a little bit, you did say you are an investor and that you've got all these lovely things. You obviously transitioned from a day job to going into this different sphere of the unknown, so to speak. What challenged you to go into that sphere? Can I ask?
What type of challenges I faced moving from a daytime job to what I'm doing now?
Correct.
It's a very good question. I mean, there is a laundry list of challenges. But if I have to
Have to do
pick,
another interview for that, right?
pardon me,
I said we'll have to do another interview just for that.
just for challenges, probably. You're right. But just to give a high level overview, I mean, anytime you move from, and this is strictly my personal experience, right?
Right.
Anytime I move from like a full time job, good paying job,
Mhm.
um, just for your viewers to know, and they might judge me when I share this.
Mhm.
I was working for the city of Mississauga when I left that job, and my pay was
Government job. Correct.
government job. That's right, full time, no contract, like full time job. And my pay was like crazy amazing pay. Like, pay
Right.
structure was fantastic. Working only 35 hours a week. I live in Mississauga, so the commute was like breeze, less than like 15 minutes for me.
Yeah.
Anyways, so that was
Must have
the
been a very challenging decision to leave such a
it was
stability, right?
it was some of my family members thought that I was nuts, that I left that. But in talking about challenges, like when you're moving from that type of job, or any kind of job, to be honest,
Right. Right.
to being a self-employed, the first thing you experience right away is financial pain. That's the
Right.
very first thing you experience. And for some people it's short term, for some people it's longer term, depending
Right.
on where you are financially.
Right.
um, but when you are seeing your paycheck coming every 2 weeks in your account, and suddenly boom, like
Yeah.
out of nowhere, stop. Oh,
Yeah.
what, like, holy macro, what do I do now? Like, where is this money coming from? Like, I see all the bills going, but where is money coming? So that
Right.
was the one challenge. The second, so I'm gonna share top three challenges. So that was the first one. The second challenge would be that I went through or I experienced was the mindset,
Hmm.
because now you're constantly thinking, okay, you're judging, you're doubting yourself, right? Oh man,
Right.
I made this decision, I did this, but did I make a right decision?
Right.
Did I do this right? Like, did I not? I hope I didn't put my family in harm's way.
Right.
Sorry, give me 1 second. I have to drink
Yeah.
some
Yeah.
water.
Go for it. Go for it. Go for it. Go for it. Yeah. It's definitely a challenge on its own. Yeah.
Yeah. So did I do this right? Like, did I not? I hope I didn't put my family in harm's way. Like, what if I don't? What if this doesn't work out for me? Right.
Right.
So all these things going on in your mind. So it's a mindset issue too, right?
Yeah.
Um, and being a brown dad, what our parents always teach us, or most of our parents teach us, at
Right.
least my mother taught me, was that don't do business, just do your job. It's secure. You go to work 9 to 5, come
Mhm.
home, spend time with your family, and enjoy your life, right?
Right.
So all
This
these thoughts
mindset.
goes in your brain, right? Because that's how I was raised wired, right?
Right.
So that was the second challenge, to overcome and change that wiring, that
Yeah.
programming in
That
brain.
programming that was there for years.
That's right, and it wasn't easy. I mean, I'm still working on it. So it's a work in progress, right?
Right.
And the third one that I would say is just gaining the momentum, just
Hmm.
finding right people, because when you leave your your current sphere where you are and you
Hmm.
move to a different sphere, now you have to find new friends, because the
Right.
friends that you had at old sphere, they are still living in that sphere, so they may or may not see what you want to do in your new sphere, so you
And
have
the
to find your
potential for
new.
what you've got going on. Right.
Exactly. So you have to
Right.
find some new friends, some like-minded, go-getter
Individuals.
type of people,
Right.
right? Um, and that was challenging too, right? to
Right.
to to kind of get accustomed and find some like-minded people to kind of connect with and work with and all that stuff. So that was a challenging. So there are
Right.
other challenges too, but I think for me, these are the main three challenges. Some of them I'm still working on it. Some of them I have improved a lot in last few years. So yeah.
And it is definitely a work in progress, but those are definitely wonderful insights into those challenging spaces. You definitely do come with a lot of experience of having that type of challenge with traveling to a new place, coming in as an immigrant, settling as a student, and settling and building your entire life in a different place. So you definitely come with a lot of experience around that. But it's great for our viewers to know, in spite of that experience, it is still challenging. And and
100%.
as much as it will be, it will continue to be challenging because it's a work in progress, right?
That's right.
Yeah, definitely. I totally agree with all of that, Dan. It's definitely it definitely is a mindset switch because, as you said, years of programming, not only around that, but everything else that we do, right? It's and having to break through that barrier. Definitely. Now,
Absolutely.
Dad, just switching gears a little bit. Obviously, you did say that unfortunately, you didn't have a dad around. And your mom actually took over that dad figure quite a bit of the time, and then you obviously, because of the fact that you're in a brown household, being the first male in the home
Yeah.
and having a younger sibling, you obviously had to take on that patriarchal role as well, right? did
Yeah.
you did you find any did you find it overwhelming in any sorts through that experience, if you're comfortable with sharing?
Um, yeah, no, absolutely. I can share. I'm just thinking what examples I can share so that it benefits to your viewers, right? Um, I mean, honestly, growing up was just nothing but challenges for me
Hmm.
personally, on a personal level, I'm talking about.
Right.
Because remember, my father passed away when I was very young, about 2 years old.
Yeah.
So when you go to school, when you go to all these events and you see other children, their parents coming in, like father and mother, to these
Right.
events, and you see your parents are not there,
Right.
it's
There is an impact, right? There is
yeah,
a miss of sorts. Yeah, I understand that.
yeah. it hurts, right? It
Right.
hurts.
Right.
But sorry, one second.
Take your time, man. Take your time. It's not an easy topic to discuss.
Yeah, no, it is not. And yeah, so it definitely hurts.
Yeah.
And I in my family, so I have a younger brother.
Yeah.
So he look up to me as a
Right.
father figure, right? Because he doesn't even remember actually.
Right.
He doesn't even. I remember vividly, like vaguely,
Right.
some of the time that I had spent.
Right.
He has zero idea, like zero clue, right?
Yeah.
So for him, I was the father figure.
Right.
And
Right.
in my family, like I had an uncle at the time. He passed away too, but I
Oh
had
wow.
uncle and other family members who also tried to support, but
Right.
they can't provide that level of support that your father would provide, right?
Right. Just being
So
like 24/7 with you in a home is just different, right?
100%. And the information you can share with your father on a personal level, you
Right.
not ne- I wasn't necessarily feeling comfortable to do that with somebody else, even though
Right.
knowing that they have a best interest at that heart. It just
Right.
I wouldn't be able to click that, right?
Right. Right.
So so going back, so yeah, so I had to become a father figure for my brother, obviously.
Yeah.
I had to first of all put my life in order because I had no father figure. So I had to figure out, okay,
Right.
where am I gonna get that information and that father figure or
Correct information, right?
correct information. That's right. There's so much wrong information out there. It's not even funny.
Right.
Uh, so I started whatever, like emulating some of the people that I like, my friends' fathers and other family members that I thought, okay, yeah, this person I like, this person I wish he could be, my father would be like him.
Right.
Excuse me. So I started emulating what they were doing and kind of learning from them, type of thing. And then
Right.
I would try to pass it along to my brother as best as I could because I was still young, right? I was still young.
Right. Right.
Fast forward that after I came to Canada,
Yeah. Yeah.
again, my parental instinct, paternal instinct started crawling because my brother was still in India, and
Yeah.
that was hurting me. That okay, I'm here in Canada, I'm trying to do best and whatever, earning money, sending money, whatever. But
Right.
how can I help him so that he can
Correct.
improve his life?
Himself. Correct.
For himself, exactly. So for the longest period of time he was against living in India. He loved it, living in India. He was
Yeah.
even jokingly told me many times, brother, you work, you go fulfill your dreams, just send me money, I'll take care here. I'll take care of everything here, I don't have to worry, I'm cool.
Right.
But he was young at the time, right? He was
Yeah.
naive, he didn't know like what he's missing out and all that stuff.
Yeah.
And then long story short, after that I said, okay, you know what, why don't you come to Canada and see,
Yeah.
because he saw what I was doing and what me coming
The
to Canada
potential
did
for
for
it
our
was huge.
family.
Right.
Exactly, right? So what it happened, and he said, okay, you know what, I'll come to Canada. So he came again on a student visa. My wife, I'm very blessed with my wife. After our wedding, we had a choice: either we go on our honeymoon, or we use that money and help my brother to come to Canada to pay his tuition fees.
Yeah.
International students, some of you may or may not know, the tuition fees are exuberant high, pretty
Extremely,
much three
extremely high.
times.
Yeah.
Yeah, pretty much three times higher than the regular people.
Correct.
So I'm blessed with such a wonderful life partner. She said, you
Yeah.
know what, let's help our family. So we
Yep.
decided not to go on our honeymoon after wedding. Instead, we took that money and we paid the full tuition fee, paid for whole program, and then asked our brother to come to Canada on a student visa. He came, he saw the life, his eyes were open, and that was my, I think that's what my father would have done for me, or our father would have done for us. That, you
Right.
know what, just go and see what's life outside India. Let's just go and see, like it will open up your thinking, right? And
Yes.
that's all I did. He came and he said, holy moly, like what I was living in a small pond
Well,
in India. This
yeah.
is ocean here, like oh my god, there's so much here that I had even thought about. It just blew up his mind when he came
Yeah.
here.
And it's nice.
um
just fear. I believe it's just, the moment you step outside your comfort zone, whether it's India, whether it's wherever you are in the world, but the moment you step outside, as you said, your pond, and now you experience the other ponds or seas or oceans, so to speak, then your perspective changes. Because, I mean, you could be the biggest fish in your pond, but not necessarily the biggest fish in the ocean. When you realize that, it's a sobering thought, right? At that point.
100%, 100%.
Mm.
Um, and then yeah, so and then after he finished his studies, he said, "Oh, I don't want to go back to India now. I want to stay here." So then we we found a, we found different options for him, and he came up with this idea to move to Saskatchewan. So he
Right.
moved to
Wow.
Saskatchewan after by himself because
Right.
I was living in Mississauga at the time.
Yeah.
So he moved to
So for our
Saskatchewan.
viewers that don't know, Saskatchewan is about a 6.5 hour flight from where we are, uh, each way.
It, it's the flight is about 3 hours,
Oh,
I
three
believe.
hours. Okay, sorry,
Yeah,
sorry. Okay,
yeah.
okay. 3 hours.
About approximately. I could be wrong, but I believe it's about 3 hours.
Okay, 3 hours each way. So it's not a walking distance. It's definitely not a
No,
driving distance.
no, no. It takes
And
day and a
also
half to drive.
the temperature difference in the winter between here and there is about minus 20 degrees, if I'm not mistaken, right? So it's about minus. It's the Toronto where we are gets to about minus 20, and Saskatchewan hits about minus 40, minus 50, even, right?
60, minus
60.
60.
Wow.
It goes up to minus 60. Yeah, there are a lot of cool videos on YouTube. Your viewers can definitely check it out in
Yes.
Saskatchewan winter videos. It's a
Yes.
very interesting place. He moved to a city called Regina,
Yeah.
which is capital of Saskatchewan.
Very nice.
Um, so yeah, so he moved there, and then everything worked out. He got his PR, and then he also joined bank. So he said, "I want to work in bank." I said, "Why you want to work in bank?"
Right.
Because he said, "You were working at bank. I was
Right.
working at bank. I was working, Reiner, me, and Reiner, I, and Silda. We were working together actually in the
Right.
same bank."
Right.
So so he said, "Well, you work at a bank, so I want to work at bank too." I said, "Okay, fine, go ahead, apply, try." And
Yeah.
luckily, he got a job too. So
Right.
he worked for a bank. He joined a bank, and yeah. But even though he was living there, I still had an obligation to keep checking on him as
Correct.
a father figure to make sure that he doesn't fall into cracks or don't do something stupid he's not supposed to, right?
Correct.
Because he was, I was young, he was younger.
Yeah.
So
Right.
when young kids come to Canada and see suddenly there's so much freedom and choices,
Right.
sometimes some kids can slip and fall into cracks where they're not
Correct.
supposed to.
Correct.
So as a
Correct.
father figure, you want to kind of keep an eye on that kind of stuff
Correct.
too.
Right. 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 Definitely, definitely. And that's definitely quite a challenge. I mean, you've obviously got your own stuff going on, and then being that father figure to a younger brother and having to connect with that person all the way across the country is definitely a challenge on its own.
It's
Now,
hard.
just switching gears a little bit then. So, I mean, because obviously you've had these wonderful insights about what it is that you've done, your personal journey of where it is that you've been through and how it is that you've gotten to where it is that you are. Obviously these challenges and the impacts that it has had on you have shaped how it is that you are. So what do you then foresee the ideal dad, or more specifically the ideal brown dad to be? What is it that you envision that type of dad?
Uh, I believe that there is no such thing as an ideal dad. And the reason I say that is because what is ideal to me may not be ideal to somebody else, right?
Very true.
Like we all have a different level of expectations, needs, requirements. So I don't think it's an ideal. I don't want to use the word ideal debt, but I want to use the word what what is right thing to do. Like I'm a
Right.
dad now, so what I teach my daughter, our daughter, do what is right.
Right.
Does it mean it's gonna be? Does it gonna it make it's gonna get make things difficult for you?
Mhm.
Maybe, maybe. But is it right thing to do? Yes, do it.
Correct.
If even though if that means that it's going to hurt you financially, mentally, emotionally, physically, whatever the case may be, psychologically.
Hmm.
But if you know that this is the right thing to do it.
Correct.
um, that is what I'm teaching to our daughter now.
Right.
I'm at times very hard on her,
Hmm.
very hard. Sometimes I feel like I shouldn't be that hard on her,
Right.
but it's for her own good. Because
Right.
if I don't instill those basic
Value.
values now,
Right.
I didn't have anybody to teach me those things other than my mother. And
Right.
mother can teach you so many things. Mother cannot be as tough as fathers in general. I'm sure there are exceptions, but I'm
Hmm.
talking about in general, right? So my job as a father is now what? To teach her things that I did not have privilege to learn from my father, right?
Right. Right.
Having a father is a privilege, guys. I mean,
Right.
if you have father and mother, you're lucky. You're
Right.
lucky. Embrace them. Um, yeah, embrace
And
them. You're lucky.
yeah, and cherish them
Um,
that you have them.
exactly. I mean, yeah. So for my daughter, so I don't have a vision of like a perfect dad, but I do have a vision that, okay, are you teaching am I teaching my daughter like a basic moral values? Am I giving her enough space to so
Hmm.
she can explore herself at
Hmm.
her interest and her likings in a
And
safe
her explore her
environment without
creativity.
being exactly without being judged, right?
Right.
um and I want, she asks me sometimes, oh, I want to try this, I want to try that. Jasmine and I, we would say, yeah, go ahead, give it a try. If you like it, that's fine. And that's
Wonderful.
how she developed interest in dance, music, singing. She's more artistic. I'm zero. I have zero artistic skills,
It's
right?
definitely coming from somewhere. There's a sense of creativity that you have, maybe not explored.
100% Jasmine. 100% Jasmine. The artistic part is 100% Jasmine, hands down. Like I'm zero artistic. Like I can't even draw anything properly. Um, so,
So you guys
but
actually did a good job with raising an individual that can display those talents. So kudos to both of you.
yeah, thank you. It's definitely is. It's a teamwork, right? There is a saying: it takes a village to raise a kid, right?
Correct.
So,
Correct.
and it is not incorrect saying. It is correct
Right.
saying. Like when your child is young and stuff, your child learns everything from different family members or
Right.
everyone within your circle.
Hmm.
So you want to protect that circle, that who comes in and out of your circle, because
Right.
your kid will learn from those people, not only
Right.
from you, but from those people too, right?
Right. Right.
Um, so pretty much it just teaching my daughter like what is the right thing to do what is right, always tell the truth no matter how bad it's gonna hurt you or you think that the person is gonna get angry or upset.
Right.
um, and just be honest, even be candid about everything. Don't
Yeah.
worry about what other person is gonna think. Don't need to sugarcoat anything.
Right.
Sometimes there is a way to say things, I get that, but no need to sugarcoat. Sometimes you have
Right.
to say the way it is. I'm
Right.
probably the in our family I'm very blunt. I'm the most blunt person.
Right.
um, I believe, and I think they believe too that I'm very blunt, but there is no point in sugarcoating, right? Why do you want to
Right.
sugarcoat? You want to say the way it
Rip
is
the
so that it's
band-aid
all
off.
clear. Pardon
Just
me?
rip the band-aid off. Don't pull it off a little bit at a time.
Yeah, just rip it off. I mean, if it's gonna hurt for sure, it's gonna sting, but at least you know now, right?
And
Everything
you're
is
gonna
on
have
the
to get it off
table.
anyway, so might as well get it off. I
Exactly,
totally.
exactly. So pretty much that's all it is. I mean, I'm still waiting for someone. I don't think I'm a good writer, but I'm waiting still for someone, maybe Reiner or his colleagues or someone of your viewers can write a
Right.
whole book on how to be a perfect brown dad or
Well, you
dad in
know,
general.
I will put out a sneak peek so that you know that we are eventually going to have a
Oh,
Brown Dad book.
oh, cool.
Brown Dads, correct. So and that's in the works. Look forward to that. It will be coming hopefully soon. But as you know,
Nice.
it's a gargantuous task because of the amount of material that we have to take, distill it down, and make that
Yeah,
it,
yeah,
it's easily digestible.
100%. I think that will do service to a lot of people.
Yeah.
Lot of people who are about to be dad or wants to be a dad, or even general who did not have dad growing up or doesn't
Correct.
have dad growing up for whatever reason.
Right.
I think that book will do a service to a lot of those people.
Oh, definitely, definitely, definitely. I totally agree. I totally agree. Then, now just wrapping up here at this point in time. So, I thank you for sharing all those lovely, lovely tidbits of information. You know, those experiences, and taking our viewers on this lovely floral journey of where it is that you are, the challenges, and all these lovely things that come up with being a dad, being in this space, and having all these different things, and raising an individual that is capable of competing with the rest of the world, right? That. Uh, do you have any words of wisdom for our viewers? Any things that you'd like to share with them that they can take away? Uh, this is the section that I call Pearls of Wisdom, and I'm going to ask for your pearls of wisdom at this point in time.
Um, I don't want to say I want to share a wisdom per se because I'm not the wisest person. I'm sure there are other people who are more experienced, and that's where the wisdom comes from. But I definitely can share something that I have been using as my guiding principle in my life, even to date. When I was
Mhm.
very young age in India, there were people who were signing up for Amway system. Those
Right.
who born in 80s and 90s, they know what I'm talking about.
The
Um,
multi-level marketing program, right? Right.
yes, yes. And anyways, one of my neighbors, he was doing this, and he gave me this one book. I don't care about the system, but he gave me this one book that was by Dr. Shiv Khera.
Hmm.
I believe the title of the book was "You Can Win Too" or something like that.
Okay.
Um, and there was a tagline on the book, and this is the tagline, and I follow this tagline to date every single day. It's ingrained in my brain right now. The tagline was, winners don't do different things. They do things differently, by Dr.
Correct.
Shiv Khera. To date, I'm following that motto in everything that I do, whether it's raising my daughter or doing a business or doing a deal with clients in real estate or even investing in real estate. You don't have to reinvent the wheel to do something, even with your
Right.
child too, right? You just have to find what other successful parents are doing and then just personalize
Right.
it to your
Right.
liking,
Right.
right? And that make it your own thing. Like whatever I shared so far, I'm pretty sure other parents must have done before me too. Maybe
Right.
Reiner, you must be doing some of this stuff too,
Right.
right?
Right. Right.
So it's not that I'm doing something new that
Right.
was never done before. It just I learned from successful parents, entrepreneurs, business owners, and then
Right.
put my own personality into it, and then
Right.
gave it a twist. And now it's
Definitely.
dance mantra. There you go, right? Um, but
Maybe
that
you should be
that's
writing a book, Dan.
pardon me.
Dan's handbook on how to be a dad.
Well, we can probably co-author. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
No, I mean, there are so many good things, man. There are really so many good things, and this humble beginnings for us. This is what helps us, and I know that you also have humble beginnings too, Reiner. Silda, same thing. I know she had very humble beginnings too. I think yeah. Anyways, I'm not going to go into that too much right now, but this humble beginnings helps us to develop our character, and then when we go through that grit, that determination, that grinding phase, and
Yep.
when we get to the other side, and then people see that, oh, this is shiny diamond, but they don't see that shiny diamond had to go through this whole
The
process,
pressure and the
right?
feeling and everything that's required to get to that diamond phase. Correct.
Exactly. Like same thing with Alia. Alia sometimes say, "Oh, daddy, for you it's easy. Daddy, it's easy for you. You make I said, "No, honey. Daddy had to do these things in India. Like you don't know. You don't know things that I have done and life that I have enjoyed back home. Like you wouldn't know what is playing in the open sand with bare feet. You wouldn't
Right.
understand that feeling of doing things like that, right?
Not having
So
toys to play with, right?
exactly. Play with friends, hide and seek, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, the, those those things you wouldn't understand, and that's my job to make her
Yeah.
understand. So one thing I do is I show her YouTube videos
Yeah.
of doing those things, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And then she will say, "Oh, Daddy, you used to do that." "Oh, yes, I used to do that." Right? So those are the thing helps basically.
Great. 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 No, it's definitely a challenge, and it's definitely a process. It is definitely a process because it's, as you said, for yourself, it's a process, and then part of the learning and part of that inculcation and part of the transfer of knowledge is also a process, right? So it's
Yeah.
definitely a work in progress. But Dan, I have to thank you because you've been a wonderful, wonderful candidate on our channel today, and you've shared some lovely insights. Dan, we're also going to ask very quickly if you can just share your personal website so that way, if anyone wants to find out more about what it is that you do, if anyone wants to align with what it is that your purpose is in terms of your real estate and your real estate investing, maybe they can find out some more information. Would you like to share any of that?
Sure. So I'm so busy that I don't even have website. Most of my business comes from referrals and investors.
Right.
But if any of your viewers have any questions, they can shoot me an email.
Hmm.
My email address is dan, D-A-N, at Dan Mehta, one word, DANMEHTA dot
Hmm.
ca. And maybe if you can, Rainer, you can just include that email address
It
in
will be.
your
It will be the link
yeah,
in the YouTube link on the bottom. Yeah.
comments.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I will
Definitely.
also give you my social media handles too. So if any one of your
Perfect.
viewers wants to connect on
Perfect.
social media, absolutely.
Perfect. So we will put those social media handles also on the bottom in the description of the YouTube link as well. Yeah.
Sounds
Well,
good. And again, man, thank you so much for having me. I mean, I haven't seen you like for such a long period of time. And when we started talking about this project, I said, "Man, I got to jump on this project. At least it will give me an opportunity to talk to you and connect with you again." This
that's
pandemic has like kept everyone so much busy and like in their own bubble lately,
definitely.
that people have forgotten the values of connecting face to face. And I hope that this comes down soon and we can kind of get together. And I get to see Riley. I can't wait to see her and play with her.
Eventually, everything will change.
Yes.
Everything will change. But then I do want to thank you very much for doing this interview and thank you for sharing all these lovely thoughts with our viewers, giving them a sense of hope and giving them a sense of empowerment. As I said earlier, our journey is from patriarchy to partnership, and we intend to do that one dad at a time. Thank you for watching today's episode of The Brown Dad. And this was Dan Mehta, the very dynamic Dan Mehta. Have a wonderful evening. Thank you all for watching The Brown Dad, and thank you for watching this episode. Good night.